despite all his contributions, which are worthy of a Nobel Prize, Professor Yamamoto remains one of the most humble human beings I know. And he will tell you that I am still learning all the time, and even though he is now a bit more relaxed because he's retired his
saline immersion and therapeutic endoscopy site proposed by Edward, and this is my disclosure. And first of all, this is the first case I performed a kind ESD procedure. That was 1998, and it was a 4 centimeter rectal lesion resected in one piece. And since then, I studied ESD. Why did I start ESD? That's because EMR was not reliable enough for curative resection. So complete envelope dissection I wanted to do for 2 reasons. One is to ensure R0 resection. So by completely resecting the tumor locally, we can eliminate the risk of local recurrence. But not only that is the reason. Another important reason is we want to make sure that treatment is a curative treatment, because even an early cancer, it could metastasize. So if that has metastasis, then just by local resection cannot cure the patient. So we want to estimate the risk of lymph node metastasis. In order to do that, we have to have a high quality specimen for histopathological examination. That was the reason why we started ESD. And then I made a prototype of ST hood, and using this ST hood, I entered into the submucosal space and dissected the submucosal layer under direct visualization. And I started using this kind of ESD because I thought vertical margin is more important than the horizontal margin. I wanted to select the dissection level because the risk of lymph node metastasis correlates to the depth of invasion and lymphatic involvement. So I wanted to select the dissection plane. By the way, what are important factors to improve your ESD? So many people try to learn ESD and just focus on technique. Just a moment. Only technique. But I think before technique, you have to have good strategy. And you have to have good orientation. You have to know where you are cutting and how the muscle is running. And you have to recognize muscle layer and blood vessel. And to recognize blood vessel, this is ACI image. That is very useful. I can show you that. The left side is ACI. That is a Fujifilm ACI mode. Using ACI, you can see the blood vessel very clearly, because the color contrast between the blood vessel and the submucosa is higher with the ACI mode. So as long as you recognize the blood vessel and muscle layer, you can avoid cutting them. And so the prevention of bleeding and perforation is possible. So, and the strategy, I use pocket creation method. That's because we can select the dissection plane right above the muscle layer, and the mucosa can be obtained to the specimen for the histopathological examination. So stable control is available, and recognition of blood vessel is easier, and we can prevent bleeding. And now, in the chronic ESD, I use short double balloon endoscope, and short double balloon endoscope can give you a very stable condition, like this. This ordinary chronoscope can be the control is paradoxical, but straightforward control is available using double balloon endoscope. That's because the overtube with balloon works like the remote control. The control applied to the shaft of the endoscope can be transmitted to the tip of the endoscope, even with some looping of the scope. So the precise control, not only in and out, but also the rotational movement can be transmitted like a remote control. So I use the double balloon endoscope. This is the short double balloon endoscope, and this is a live demonstration case. And overtube is just placed on the table. And I don't touch the scope with the right hand at all, just left hand. Just left hand, I can control like this. So the precise control can be transmitted through the overtube with the balloon. And then this is the pocket creation method. The lesion was located on the fold, but using the pocket creation method, we can press down the muscle fold, and even behind the fold, we can approach the behind the fold by pressing down the muscle fold, and tangential approach is available. So this is the benefit of pocket creation method. So this dissection plane can be selected. And if there is a blood vessel, then don't attack immediately, just leave it and isolate the blood vessel and coagulate the blood vessel before cutting. So this is a flash knife coagulating the blood vessel with the different knife, and then make sure the blood flow is stopped and the blood vessels become whitish tissue. And then we can cut the blood vessel without making any bleeding. But when you cut the blood vessel, we should have to select the cutting place. We cut here, leaving the whitish tissue. Cutting here equals bleeding. So leaving the whitish coagulated tissue on the muscle side and cut. In this way, we can prevent bleeding. Okay, then why did we start saline immersion in ESD? That's because in some situation, the approaching here becomes very difficult. In this case, maybe you can use traction device, but without using traction device, just using saline immersion, then you can approach this difficult part. But the problem was bubble formation. A lot of bubble formation on the saline. I'm talking like it goes a bit of the bubble, but you can wash it away from inside of the hood to the outside by water jet. Throughout night, wash this away.
So the flash knife also does on the water.
Yes. And maybe using air cut, the creation of the bubble could be less. Let's try it. I used the Swift quad and it caused a lot of bubble, but air cut doesn't create bubble, right? So it's better. So bubble in saline immersion. What is a bubble? I thought that was the evaporation of water, but if that is just evaporation, it should, after cool down, it should disappear. But this bubble doesn't disappear. So I thought that this is electrolysis. So the water is electrolysis. By the electrolysis, it becomes hydrogen and oxygen. So if that is electrolysis, then using low voltage or low our setting is better for minimizing bubble formation. That's the reason why I thought that using cutting current, bubble formation will be less. Because cutting current has lower voltage than coagulation current. And continuous saline perfusion eliminates bubbles. That's the reason why I studied continuous low pressure saline perfusion or ESD.
Use a repositionable clip to grasp the nylon thread attached to the nasogastric tube, transport it to the gastric body, and secure it with the clip. In this case, an additional clip is used to prevent the nasogastric tube from coming loose. The assistant steps on the water jet pedal, injecting water to create a perfused state. The field of view becomes very clear.
Very slow rate of
Incision
saline.
begins. Tiny bubbles appear, but since the inside of the hood is under positive pressure, the bubbles dissipate immediately. Additionally, adequate drainage keeps the stomach moderately collapsed.
So by using the continuous saline flow,
Even with minor bleeding,
we could eliminate the bubble. And even bleeding, we don't need to suck the suction is not necessary. So the energy tube, it drains saline. Anyway, and low pressure is very important because by making the luminal pressure low, then the patient feels discomfort less, so requires less sedation and safe procedure. And nearly collapsed lumen like this, then the approaching angle is tangential and the endoscopic control is very easy. But with the insufflated colon or stomach, then the approaching and control of the endoscope becomes very challenging. And inflated the intestine colon, then the wall becomes thin and easy to perforate. But the thick, deflated and thick wall cannot be, perforation is more difficult to make. And injected solution remains longer. So that's the reason why low pressure is very important. And using the short double column endoscope, there are three functions. One is the stable control of the endoscope, as I had shown you. That is not the only reason. Another reason is the drainage of the infused saline through the overture. And the third function is limiting the lumen. So colonic lumen is blocked by the overture balloon, so that makes the space small. The working space smaller and it's easy to clean up. So this is a video of the live demonstration. And here, the suction tube is connected to the water supply tube, and the injected saline is drained through the overture, and continuous saline infusion is performed through the flash nut in this case. But anyway, we can maintain a very good clear view using this method. And now the long double barrel endoscope, the newest version, EN840T, has water function. So using this, it's easier to do the procedure. So I want to show you the case. This is the case of the Tokyo Live this year, live demonstration. So this was a very good case for live demonstration because the lesion was located at the hepatic flexure. Is this done? Is this done? I'm not sure. Not done. Yeah, please run. Yes. You pass a little bit. Yeah, like that. Yes. So this was located at the hepatic flexure and it's very unstable position. And I was using a long scope. This is a 2-meter long scope, but even with this long scope, and the pressure was not very good. But after reaching the area, I just placed the overtube to the bed. and precise control can be transmitted through the overtube, and the ESP was possible. And in Japan, the only the knife which can be used through the 2-meter scope was the pro knife. So in this case, I use the pro knife. And this is ACI. And by using ACI, you can see the blood vessel better. And blood vessel is better recognized. So the rate is very important. And then blood vessel, soft coagulation, and the so by using NCAT and soft coagulation, no bubble formation. So a little bit of the bubble can be eliminated by continuous sterile flow. So we can maintain a very clear endoscope view throughout the procedure.
It's very also challenging for patients.
Yes, very unstable with standard protocol. But thanks to the double bubble endoscope, I can get the
Nobody can do ESP, this case without the balloon.
Yeah, I think double bubble is very useful in this case. Thank you for a good case for the demonstration. I hope I can show you that soft blood vessel and using soft coagulation, it can be coagulated before practice. Soft coagulation works better with the brass knife because it has a round tip and white. Right. That is the next slide. Okay. Is this the right slide? Before this one. Yeah, pathology was the complete resection. And this one doesn't work anymore. Yeah, it's working. Okay, and the dissection with NCAT. Anyway, control of bleeding. There are four choices you can do. Recognition of blood vessel and coagulation during dissection using the coagulation current. That can be applied for small blood vessels, but for a large amount you have to pre-coagulate with a knife. And the blood vessel is even larger, then you can use hemostatic forceps. And very large blood vessels, we can use clipping. And I use this mode. I want to explain that. What is soft coagulation? Why do we use soft coagulation for the coagulation forceps? That's because the soft coagulation is a spark-free coagulation. We don't want to destroy the vessel wall during the hemostasis. That's the reason why we use soft coagulation. Soft coagulation is a very special coagulation mode. Usual coagulation mode, like forced coagulation, has a high voltage, but the power is limited by limiting the current. So the voltage will be as high as 2,000 volts, but current is limited. So in that way, we can eliminate cutting. But soft coagulation, the wave shape is the same as the cutting current. But for cutting, it requires spark, and at least more than 200 volts are required. So if you decrease the voltage less than 200, then it doesn't cut anymore. That is the soft coagulation. So soft coagulation is very good for the hemostatic forceps. Then why didn't I use soft coagulation with a knife? That's because it didn't work. Why it didn't work? Because the contacting surface of the knife was too small. So just try to coagulate the blood vessel with the knife, and just the tissue around the knife is coagulated, then the resistance goes up. Resistance goes up. Voltage is limited to 200. Then, if the resistance goes up, no current flows. So it doesn't work. So that was the reason why I was not using the soft coagulation with the knife. Then what I did was, instead of using a low voltage mode, I tried low power setting, such as spray coagulation 0.7. In this setting, I tried to limit the power by limiting the current. Voltage is high, but current is low. So even with high resistance, it works. So that was this is the one. To the very weak spray coagulation, that is 0.7 by bio 3, 0.7 spray coag works for precoagulation in CO2. But low power setting of high voltage mode, such as spray 0.7, doesn't work very well in saline immersion because the resistance is too low. So the power is voltage times current, and voltage is current times resistance. That means power is the square current times resistance. So if the current is limited, then if the resistance doesn't go up, then it doesn't generate power. So in the saline, the resistance is too low, and if there is a flow, even the resistance is low, so it doesn't work in the saline very well. So if the resistance doesn't go up in the saline, I thought soft coagulation should work in the saline. So the soft coagulation didn't work in CO2, that's because resistance goes up and current stops. But in the saline, even with 200 volts, the current still goes on. So it should work, I thought, and it worked. So that's the reason why if the soft coagulation works, then the soft coagulation between the cutting current, that is the end cut mode effect, should work. So now I use the end cut by effect 4, duration 1 and interval 2 for the subencoder dissection. So the effect 4 for soft coagulation during the interval and duration 1 for short cutting time to prevent inadvertent significant bleeding, and interval 2 for an adequate time for the soft coagulation. So that this is what I do in ESD saline immersion method. So using the end cut I, effect 4, and duration 1, interval 2, and if there is a blood vessel, then I change to soft coagulation and coagulating, and cut. After the coagulation, I cut with the end cut. And if it bleeds a little bit, but still soft coagulation works for the hemostasis, if that is a minor bleeding. But if there is a major bleeding, then we have to have a high flow saline. And high flow saline for visualization of bleeding point. And with the high flow saline, spark is eliminated, even with high voltage mode, like post-coagulation. So if the soft coagulation is not good enough, then with high flow saline, I use post-coagulation. So this is an example of the bleeding case. And if there is a significant bleeding, then I increase the rate of saline flow to maximum, and then we can see the bleeding point. And with a high flow saline, we can use coagulation current, like post-coagulation, and it works like a frozen effect proposed by Edward. Using the coagulation current, the valve formation and spark formation is eliminated. So this is the current setting I use. End cut I, effect 1, interval, duration 2 and interval 1 for the mucosal incision, and post-coagulation 3.0 for in case of bleeding with high flow saline, and end cut I, effect 4, this for the submucosal dissection, and so coagulation 6.0, we start off for coagulation of the blood vessel. So in this way, we can perform valve-free ESD in saline perfusion. So this is the conclusion. Continuous low-pressure saline perfusion is a useful method to make ESD safe and easy, and for CLPSP, low-voltage modes such as soft coagulation and NCAT are suitable. And EV system is useful for CLPSD in chronic PSP, and I want to have a short PV system with voltage expansion. Thank you very much.